British Columbia taxpayers broke out as government commits $15 million to Meg's wardrobe in next Invictus show. CBC News reported that the federal and British Columbia governments are each committing $15 million in support of the 2025 Invictus Games in Vancouver and Whistler, BC. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Premier John Horgan made the announcement at Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Trudeau said that as the first Invictus Games to feature adaptive winter sports, the event will be uniquely Canadian. An additional $1 million in federal funds will be provided to the Soldier On programme to support the participation of Canadian veterans in the Games. For the first time ever, and classically Canadian, these Games will include winter sports, he told a cheering audience at the announcement Tuesday. We all know that when it comes to winter sports, our Canadian competitors will show them how it's done. The Games will feature alpine skiing, Nordic skiing, skeleton and wheelchair curling, as well as swimming, indoor rowing, sitting volleyball, wheelchair rugby and wheelchair basketball. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, announced in April that Vancouver and Whistler won the bid to host the 8-day international sports competition for wounded and ill military veterans in February 2025. Over 500 athletes from more than 20 nations are expected to compete in 2025. Horgan called the announcement the best possible news for British Columbia. But taxpayers in British Columbia raised the question, where's all this money going? Meghan Markle's awful clothes, 5-star hotels, private jets and security for the Sussexes, or all money will be donated for veterans? This is a big question because in the Invictus German Games, Meghan and Harry used $30 million from the Invictus Fund according to the previous report. This is why Meghan will stick it out with Harry, guaranteed money to spend on ghastly clothes and a semblance of importance. Invictus needs to dump him or curtail this insane financial arrangement. The Invictus Games staff are saying that they're sick of it being the Markle show overshadowing the veterans. The whistleblower has come forward to dailymail.com, stating there are genuine concerns that they'll go over budget if they have to pay for the Harkle's costs. If public funds are used, does that mean the public should get to see an itemised account statement? Taxpayers should get access to the receipts and records of how their money was spent by Invictus. What's worse is that the Government of Canada has made severe cuts to military funding and there are armed forces personnel who can't afford homes to buy or rent, so basically homeless. Giving $30 million for a dying Games is not good business. It's not going to draw crowds of people who will spend a lot of money to see the Games. No one's going to give a damn about the Games. It was the Royal Foundation for Princes William and Harry that founded the Invictus Games. People tend to forget this detail. Despite the falling out that caused the separation of the Royal Foundations, Catherine and William gave £560,000 from their Royal Foundation to the Invictus Games, and resulted in the biggest profit that the organisation has had in years. This money was much needed for the Invictus Games, as that same year the Harkles cancelled a fundraiser for the Games that was going to be screened by Amazon. It was first reported that they cancelled this huge fundraiser that could have raised millions for the Invictus Games, because they'd signed with Netflix. The selfish Harkles gave the Invictus fundraiser a pass for their own financial goals. There needs to be serious journalistic investigation of Invictus going on, and the directors who were sacked or left need to be offered whistleblower status by a newspaper if there's anything to report. The whole thing reeks of rottenness. It would appear to be a possibility. That possibility, just possibly, Invictus is being used to fund some lifestyles rather than focus on veterans.